Hi, everybody. I'm Paul Barbato. I am the main host and creator and of Geography Now, the YouTube channel right there. And yeah, basically, it is YouTube's first and largest channel that covers profiles on every country in the world. And yeah, basically, before I start anything, I just want to say thank you, first of all, to MTP for having this event, having us all of us here. So just give them a round of applause. And yeah, also a huge thanks to the Equatorial Guinean people for letting us have this event. I mean, you guys know that, yeah, it's not very often that people come here for tourism, so, and they're trying to work on the tourism, so I think that's really awesome. Yeah, so basically, I'll just kind of tell you guys how I started. So the channel has about 3.3 million views, subscribers, sorry. And it I started in the beginning of 2000, or the end of 2014, beginning of 2015. I grew up in a diverse neighborhood in Chicago, and I noticed all the kids would kind of speak different languages. Some of them spoke, like Urdu, or they spoke like Greek or Russian. I'm half Korean. I grew up with Korean. So I was kind of curious. Why are these kids different from me? Hold on just a sec. Let me turn this off. All right. Just doing a little documenting. Yeah. So eventually I was like, okay, I want to learn more about the world, but at the time it was like in the late 90s. What do you do with an interest in the world? Nothing happened. I finished high school. I lived in Korea for a year and a half, and I moved to Los Angeles. I am not an actor. I'm not a musician. I just wanted a big city. I like big cities, and I like being warm, but I don't like being humid. So it was either Los Angeles or Phoenix. I was not going to live in Phoenix. It's way too hot there. So yeah, and at the time, YouTube was kind of new. There was no channel that covered geography, and I wanted to learn about every country in the world. So nobody did it, and I was like, okay, why don't I do it? So it was pretty interesting at that time. This was about 2015. YouTube was about 10 years old, and nobody had done a channel about geography. So I started my very first episode about. I'm going alphabetically. We go through every country alphabetically, and so the first one was Afghanistan. If you watch my first country episode, it's very kind of cringy. Like I had to learn how to operate the camera by myself, and I had to do all the animations. Okay, that takes so much time. But I loved it. I like even when you make one little line move on the map, that takes a lot of work, but it's so fulfilling when you finish that one video and then you press upload. And yeah, that's basically what I've been doing for the past um, almost decade of my life. And I'm almost done. I'm literally now working on the United States episode. And it's going to be probably the biggest video of my channel and biggest project I've ever done in my life. And I'm here in Equatorial Guinea. So, yeah, Charles hit me up and he was like, hey, we want to invite you to this thing. And I was like, yes, it's a little like I'm in the middle of this big project, but I have to come here. I have to go to Equatorial Guinea. So I'm actually going to film some of the United States episode in my hotel room tomorrow. So it's like I'm kind of working here, but I'm also trying to enjoy this crazy experience. And it's really cool meeting a lot of you guys here too. Yeah, so I guess my topic for today is how to get to 3 million subscribers. Um, so long story short, it's not easy. It's especially on YouTube and social media, everything has been done. It's like trying to sell tacos in Mexico. It's like how are you going to become something or do something that has already been done a billion times before by so many other people? I was really lucky because I found long story answer short, I found something that worked that nobody was doing that everybody wanted. Like that's basic, and I did it good. Like that's the shortest answer. Do something people want that no one's doing, and you have to be good at it. um, I guess I got lucky. I got kind of lucky with geography now. Somebody, if I didn't do it, probably someone else would have done it. So I jumped in at the right time. Um, I interact with my subscribers a lot, and I from every country. Whenever I do a new country, I try to involve my subscribers. I put on a social media tweet or a post, and I'm like, hey, are any of you guys from Solomon Islands or from South Sudan? And I actually found them in the United States. The United States is so diverse, it's crazy. I found the rarest person on my channel, a girl from Tuvalu who was going to school in Salt Lake City. So I literally flew her over. I'm like, you are a treasure. I need you on the show. So I bought her a ticket last minute from Salt Lake City to be in my episode, and she was great. She gave all the information that you cannot Wikipedia, and that's what I love doing in my show. I love getting the information that only the locals know. Like if some of you guys are from Romania or Poland, I would ask you, what are some inside jokes that only Romanian people know or Polish people know? If I say this, what's gonna make the Polish people like happy and like, oh, he said that, he said that. That's what I try to put in my show, and that's I want to make these videos that cater to the population of the people of the country that I'm doing. That's my goal. And yeah, now I have to do the home country, the United States. I admit I'm a little nervous about that. I think I can do it. I think I can do it. So yeah, I'm gonna be a little honest. I didn't really have too much of a plan. I don't have any information for you guys to look up on the screen. I talked to PP and I was like, "What am I doing?" She's like, "You're gonna talk." I'm like, "Oh, okay. You're American. You can do it." So I'm like, "Okay, yay!" Um, so I guess the topic is how do you kind of go forward with YouTube or social media? We live in a weird time. We live in the digitized era. Just like that guy, the photographer guy. What was his name? Uh, yes, yes, yeah, Michael. He was like, soon AI is going to take over a lot of our jobs. It's developing and it's a little concerning. Everything now people have to do is digitized. Everything you're doing has to be online in order if you want to make a forward progress. It's weird. It's almost like you need a computer now. You need to have some kind of online presence to move forward. Otherwise, you're going to be a little stagnant in the way how you move forward. So, and if YouTube or some kind of social media presence is what you're searching for, it's a very powerful tool. It's a very powerful tool. Even though I have my YouTube channel, I also have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and I use the community tab on YouTube. And every single day I'm posting. Even today, I posted up a map on my Instagram. I'm like, I have to feed. You have to keep feeding the flock. That's the stressful thing. When you're doing stuff like this, you have to always be interesting. You always have to keep trying something that gets people involved. And I've been doing that for about 8 years. I'm very lucky because my format, I do every country in a row. So you know what my next video is going to be in the alphabet. You just don't know how I'm going to do it. So I have this hook, this strategy on how I get people to keep coming back. Oh, he's going to do the Ukraine episode next. Oh, he's going to do the Uzbekistan episode next. Oh, but what is he going to say? Oh, how is he going to say it? And then when I press upload, they're shocked and they love it. So that's my personal strategy. And yeah, another thing is you have to learn how to do the technical side. This is the worst part of the process. You have to learn how to edit. You have to learn how to operate a camera. You have to learn about, like what Michael said, aperture, the F1 stop or whatever that is. You have to learn how to operate the technical side, and you have to learn how to animate sometimes, or whatever even those TikTok kids that are doing dances in the middle of the grocery stores. They know how to edit the videos. They have the system on their phone, and they push. Kids are really weirdly smart these days. Like they know how to change. They know how to do everything on their phones, and they're like 8 years old. It's crazy how kids are growing up these days. I think that's kind of a good thing. It's a little scary, but it's kind of good because we need that. We need people who are good at working with digital media because that's the future we're in right now. So one last thing I would say, if you are trying to go for the social media presence and the YouTube thing, you have to learn how to manage your life. You have to learn how to keep your sanity because it's a lot of work, and the worst part of the process is writing. You have to write. You have to know how to make your content. You have to know what you're going to make before you even press record on the camera. You have to write down a script. You have to write down what you're going to say. Even if it's not a script, you have to write down the bullet points of what you're going to say. You have to write down what you're going to say. Is it interesting enough? Are people going to like? That's the formula. Am I going to make stuff people like? And what do people like? It's always different no matter where you go. So yeah, you have to learn how to write, and you have to learn how to manage your life. Um, you might get stressed. You have to have friends. You have to have good people in your life. You have to take a break. That's just part of the process. So yeah, so I would say those are my top bullet points on how to get into the game of the YouTube stuff. I guess should we just open up into like a Q&A segment, or what exactly should we do now? What do you think, Charles? Should we just improvise, or what do you think?
Okay, one thing actually we discussed.
Yes.
Talk about first subscriber,
Uh-huh.
3.3 million.
Yes.
And there's different steps like this. Tell about the story going from 1 to 3 million, and the key checkpoints along with the key timeline.
Yes. Good question. Yeah. So before I did Geography Now, I had another channel, and it was bad. Like I never got past like 2,000 subscribers, but I had those 2,000 subscribers. And then I made the new channel, Geography Now, and I told those 2,000 subscribers, I'm making a new channel, come to this new one. So right away, I had a few hundred subscribers right away, because from that 2,000 group. And then I guess just word of mouth spread. By the time I did my Algeria episode, um, it started to blow up. It started going. I guess people started talking. People were saying, "Oh, there's this channel that's doing every country in the world. Oh, I want to know what he does next." I guess that's kind of what really snowballed it. Fun fact: when I did my Armenia episode, that was when I realized this job is going to come with a lot of controversy. A lot of Azerbaijanis and Turks had a lot of stuff to say when I uploaded that video. So then I realized I have to kind of reword and restructure the way how I do things, because there's a lot of sensitive people in this world. I think by the time I did my Brazil episode, because whenever I do a country with a huge population of people, that's usually when I see a huge jump in my viewership and my subscribers and all that stuff. So I think Brazil was when everything really started to. It was like the catalyst that grew everything. And yeah. I guess that's kind of a pair where, like, to answer your question, I think the Brazil episode was when everything kind of started to explode.
Well, clearly you have the bumps for the big countries. Also bumps when you get mentioned by other influencers. Like, talk about like other sort of specific things, maybe your approach or way you handled the production that you think helped you get extra bumps.
You mean? Oh, yeah. So, you mean like for other influencers or something, or?
Yeah, like influencers, one thing that no one can say I'm gonna make a viral video. A lot
Yeah.
of it's luck. Your influencer spreads it on. What other things do you think you did a conscious choice that helped to bump things up?
Yeah. It's not about going viral anymore. It's about making stuff that people will come back to. The YouTube algorithm factors in everything. It factors in the amount of your subscribers, the amount of views, the amount of retention of the views. Are people clicking away at the very first 3 seconds, or are they watching the whole thing? It's a complicated algorithm, and then it takes all of that into account, and then it pays you with the AdSense revenue. So you can't just go viral, and you can't just make one video that makes a lot of views, and you can't make something that's kind of like clickbaity, but then people hate it and then they click out. It even factors in the dislikes. Even though you can't see the dislikes anymore, the YouTube factors in how many people liked your video. So you have to be good to move forward in this type of business. You can't just take a cheat sheet, a little cheat move, and then try to make a career out of it. And I have had, as my channel grew, I actually had more people that were kind of influencers get involved in my episodes. I had the largest YouTuber in Slovakia, PP Peter. He was involved in the Slovakia episode. He was one of my co-hosts. And then I had Board One guy, the number one YouTuber in Ukraine, in my Ukraine episode. Both of these people, they hit me up. They were like, "Hey, I love your channel. I want to represent my country, and I would love to get involved." So sometimes that happens when you grow big. People start to hit you up, and you don't have to reach out to them anymore. So that's pretty cool sometimes. Like, oh wow, I'm just doing my thing, and people are contacting me, and it works. So yeah, and that helps. That helps because people from the countries love to watch stuff that talks about their countries, especially if it's a smaller country. When I did the Albania episode, no, actually, Brazil was when I went kind of viral. I think Albania was when I went viral because they only have a population of like 2.2 million. But I think like the entire country saw that episode because I was on Albanian news and they like it was like websites all over in Albanian were just like, oh, geography now, geography now. Same thing with Bosnia and Herzegovina. I was on Bosnian and Herzegovinian news and they're just everywhere. And then it just kept going. And then Denmark, I was on a Danish comedy show for some reason. Like they posted clips of my video. I didn't even know this. It's weird where I find Geography Now stuff all over the internet and on news and on TV shows, and I don't even. My subscribers send me weird stuff, but it happens every so often. But yeah, to answer your question, Per, I think yeah, the influencer thing has helped out, and the more my channel grows, the more it happens. So yeah. Um, should we? Yeah. Are we gonna open up to questions? All right, we got some questions. Okay, should we do that?
We can actually talk about what people want to listen to. So
Oh, okay.
let's get the microphone passed around. We got so many questions here. Wow, this is great.
Woohoo.
Okay, let's start with Michael in the front row. He's easy to reach.
Only quick question. What is coming after the last country?
This is the most common question I get, and I'm pretty sure half of you guys were going to ask the same question. So when I'm going alphabetical, I'm going to finish with Zimbabwe. That's my last episode of the countries because I'm going by the UN countries. I could do the observer countries, Palestine, Kosovo, Taiwan, and Vatican. I will do featured videos of those later, but after I finish Zimbabwe, I kind of want to do what I'm doing right now, travel and document and make little mini documentaries of these videos. I did a little mini documentary of when I went to Ukraine during the war. That video did pretty well. People loved it. They loved seeing me walking through the bombed buildings of Irpin and Barayanka, and they loved it, and they wanted to keep sharing that stuff. That's kind of what I want to do after I finish Zimbabwe. I've been talking about the world for almost a decade of my life. I want to get out of the studio and see it. I want to go out and see it. So a lot of you guys are 193 people, or you guys are almost there. You're close. I'm only at 78. Equatorial Guinea is only my 78th country, so I'm not nearly as cool as you guys. Like, come on, you guys beat me to it. So I want to catch up to you guys. I want to see much more. That's one of my goals. So yeah.
Can I just quickly add another question? So you talked about all these countries, but in many of these countries you didn't go.
Yes, yeah. It's me in a studio with a black tarp talking. And then and I have some animations. So and sometimes I have people from the country in as my co-host or my guest host, like the girl from Tuvalu. I flew her in. My studio is in Los Angeles. So I'm in my studio. We used to film at the YouTube studios. YouTube built a huge studio, but then COVID came. They closed everything down. So I had to build my own studio in my house. And then yeah, so that's basically what we do. I'm just talking in a studio. Sometimes I actually travel to the country. If I cannot fly the guest host to me, I go to them. So for the Togo episode, I found one really cool Togolese guy, but he couldn't come to America. So I'm like, okay, I'll come to you. So I flew to Togo. I brought my black backdrop and I brought my camera and I filmed the whole Togo episode in Togo in his bedroom. It looks almost the exact same as it is in my studio because it's a very simple setup. It's just a black tarp and me talking in front of it and then animations. You could do that anywhere. I brought my black tarp here and I'm going to film the USA episode in my hotel room. So it's a very good, easy setup for me to do. And yeah, I went to Turkey and I went to, where else? Switzerland for the Switzerland episode. Sometimes I have to travel to the guest host if I want them to be in the episode. So yeah, go.
All right, raise your hands.
Other questions?
2 questions.
Sure.
First, have you ever had to go back and re-edit your content? For instance, Armenia, you just brought up, if you got a lot of negative reaction. And secondly, does your model depend upon or look to repeated viewers of the video, or is it one each person seeing it once and you need a new person?
Yeah, so my content is unique in that a lot. To answer your second question, I'll go back to the first. My content is unique because I'm covering a glossary of every country in the world. So people who want to learn about the world, usually it has a high rewatch rate. So people can come back to my videos, or people who watch one video and they want to learn about another one, they come and there's a lot of rewatch value in the content that I make. Some YouTubers, they just make one video that's funny and then nobody watches it again. For me, it's education based. So there's always going to be a need for educate or something that helps. That's why little kids shows do so well on YouTube, because the kids go back to it and then they sing the songs and it's like the kids song and then they just replay it. Like look at all these kids shows on YouTube. They're insane. They're making like $30 million. I'm not even nowhere near that stuff. And or the parents just press play. So yeah, a lot of my content, it has a rewatch value to it. To answer your first question, I can't redo an older episode until I get to Zimbabwe, because if I do redo an older episode, everybody's gonna complain. Oh, how come you did the Albania episode before you did my episode? Oh, why did you choose them? Oh, I've dealt with this before. Everybody gets mad if I give one country preferential treatment. So I have to be very careful. I don't like go back and redo an episode, because then everybody is gonna complain. So I have to finish Zimbabwe first before I do any kind of like extra type of thing for one country. So yeah, it's kind of sad, but that's the reality of the situation.
I'm
Yeah.
going to interrupt and hijack just for a second and ask my own question.
Sure.
I think I ruined it. Okay. Just for the people who haven't seen you, what's the average length of one of your episodes? And is there any formula that you do repeat for each of the countries that, that's a common ground? It's just for people, or is it something completely new every time?
Yeah, so that's actually should have talked about that in the earlier part of this talk, because I forgot. But yeah, every episode of Geography Now, I follow four sections there's a format of 4 sections per each episode: the political, physical, demographics, and the what I call friend zone, or the diplomatic relations of each country. So in the political segment, I talk about the borders, the boundaries, everything that falls within the sovereignty of a country, and the road structure, the airports, the busiest cities, whatever, stuff like that, the civil structure of the country. And then we move on to the physical geography, which is the landscape, the resources, the land, the physical part of the country. And then we move on to the demographics segment, which is the people, the culture, the languages, everything, the religion, everything about the people, the society of the country. And then finally, we move on to the friend zone, the diplomatic relations of each country and how they tie in with the rest of the world or their friends or whatever countries they consider are friends of their country. So that's the structure I have. Over time, it's gotten longer and longer because my subscribers suggested new segments. They wanted me to talk about the food. They wanted me to talk about the sports. They wanted me to talk about the culture. They wanted me to talk about the music. And so I added new mini segments within each part. And then now, my first video was like 7 minutes long. The last one was 47 minutes long. So the UK, I just did the UK episode. And that was so far the biggest episode on my channel. I think the US might beat it, but we'll see. Yeah. So I guess that's to answer your question. Yeah. And
All right.
yeah, if anybody has a question, yeah, go for it.
Very simple question. I know you've only been here a few days, but do you have any thoughts about your episode on Equatorial Guinea now that you know what you know?
The one that I did before, or the
Yeah,
one
the
I'm?
one you did before.
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm gonna make a video about this. Me traveling here too. It's gonna be so I have like side videos that I do besides the countries. One of them is called Geography Go, where I actually go to the country, and I'm gonna make a video about Equatorial Guinea for that. I'm gonna do a Geography Go episode about this country, and yeah, I made the Equatorial Guinea episode like 4 years ago, something like that. It was one of my earlier episodes, and a lot of that was just research based. I didn't have any Equatorial Guinean co-host with me. They're kind of hard to find. There's not many of them in this world. No, now we know some, but yeah, yeah, but I didn't know any back then because it was like what 2017, and I think I had a few subscribers email me because they were from the country, but I couldn't find anybody that I could have come to my house and film, or I couldn't find any in If they're in Los Angeles, it makes it so much easier, or Southern California, or even if they're like in the United States. I would love to have them in my videos, but I didn't know anybody back then. My resources were very limited in the earlier stages. I didn't know many people. I just depended on my subscribers emailing me. But if I could redo that episode, oh, I would add a lot more. Now that I've been in the country and I've seen so much more, and like the traditional Fang dance that we saw yesterday, or the the costumes and the statues that you see in that walkway before you come here. The what was it, Malemba drink or something that we had yesterday at the tour thing. Like I would have put that in the episode. Like I didn't even have a food section back then, so I would have added a food section and a culture and a music. There's so much music here. Like I wish I could redo all the earlier episodes, but I can't. Not yet.
Can you tell a little bit about the milestones on that journey? How many follow or how many subscribers do you need before you get paid out a little bit, and at which point do you actually consider yourself a full-time YouTuber?
Yeah, good question. So it's a little different for everybody, but for me personally, when I started getting, I think around 100,000 subscribers, I was living with roommates, and I was able to pay my share of the rent just with YouTube, with about 100,000 subscribers, and I was getting about maybe 80 to 100,000 views per video. So at the time, that was pretty high. It was like, whoa, okay, it's not bad. And I was able to be consistent with it, and I was able to pay my rent. Fast forward to about 300,000 subscribers. Both my roommates moved out, and I was able to pay the whole rent of the whole. No roommates, just me. And I moved my family to Los Angeles, and they lived in my small little house. I was able to pay the whole rent and utilities with about 300,000. Fast forward about 1 million subscribers, I buy my first house. That's I have my own house. Really, I've never done. Okay, yeah, yeah. I bought my first house, and I needed to get a house. Specifically, not because I'm trying to like be all like. And if you look at my house for Los Angeles standards, it's really kind of like crappy looking. It's like it's small and it's expensive. But if you can buy a house in Los Angeles, then whew, good luck. And that this was the cheapest house I could find, and it's kind of small, and it was really expensive. But I put the down payment. Also in the USA, they have this tax law where if you're a first-time home buyer, you get like 3% as opposed to 10% for a down payment. So I was lucky. I was like, okay, I'll use that advantage. And yeah, so I needed that house because my dad passed away, and I needed to provide for my mom. So my mom lives in my house. It's my house, not hers. She lives with me. I provide. So, and yeah, so basically, I needed a place to provide for my mom, and so now my mom. Fast forward about 2 million subscribers, I can provide everything. My mom never has to work anymore. She can live her life. She likes to paint. If you go to my house, you see the walls, all the paintings, she did it. And she's just happy. She's not doing anything like work-wise. She doesn't have to worry. I'm able to provide for my mom. So that's 2 million. Fast forward about 3 million. Now I can take my mom on trips across the world. And together, me and my mom bought a second house, a property. And I'm trying to get into small little side businesses here and there, like little bit of real estate, little bit of investing stuff, not crypto. I'm kind of done with that. But yeah, that's basically the process of my financial history with YouTube. Yeah, so I'd say everything kicked off around 100,000 subscribers. Short answer, yeah.
Right, these questions are great. Any more hands up? Any more questions? Well, you passed to the young lady there, Charles, right behind you. Riza Roscoe, maybe she has a question.
I've got my mic. Hi, Paul. I'm Riza.
Hi.
I'm just curious to know how you gather your information for each country. I'm curious because as travelers, as a traveler myself, I have my sources of information, but that's uh, thinking, preparing for my travel. So I'm curious to know, you're preparing for for your YouTube show or channel, whether you would have a different kind of methodology for gathering your information.
Yeah, yeah, kind of like what I was saying before. A lot of it is research personally online, Wikipedia or CIA World Factbook. But like I said, my subscribers are the best source of information, and that's what I use social media for. I put a post out on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Hey, are any of you from Turkmenistan? And then I'll get like maybe a few of them, maybe like six. They're actually Turkmen, which is hard to find, let alone that speak English, and they'll email me, and then that's when I ask the real like hard questions. What are some facets about your country that only people from your country know and understand that you cannot research? That's the real gold of my channel. Talking to the people from the country and asking them the questions that you cannot research. Because I mean, a lot of us, we travel the world, and we probably get like look at Lonely Planet or some of the the online resources. You research stuff, but you really can't understand a place unless if you talk to the people. No one knows their country better than the people. They are the best resource. So I would say about over half of my information comes from my subscribers. They tell me all the good stuff, and then that's I put that in my videos. And then when the people from the countries watch that video, just in case if I get anything wrong, it's their fault. So I'm not it's not me trying to like make up my own information. So I guess people are the best source of information, I would say. And if you need to travel somewhere but you don't know anybody from that country, you can actually call up the embassies. Embassies in Washington D.C. Sometimes they help out. I've done that before. I didn't know anybody from like Tonga. So I called the Tongan embassy. The lady talked to me, and she actually got me in contact with a lady who lived in Los Angeles who was Tongan. So if you really don't know anybody, sometimes you can even just call the embassy, and they can help you out. So yeah, I guess that's an answer.
All right, great question. Any more questions? Raise your hand. Hi, hi, hi. Come on down here, Charles. More to the the back row, back row. Okay.
Okay, so I understand you have 3 million followers, subscribers, but how often do you have to post the videos? Like, how does it count for the money? Is it the clicks, the subscribers? How often do you do this to earn more money doing it?
Yeah, it's for YouTube, it's a complicated system of always trying to shock people, always trying to get them to come back. I'm lucky because I have a system where people can come back. They always want to see my new country episode. So forgot how. What exactly did you ask? So, how often? Yes. So for me, I upload about 3 times a month. The country episode, and then I do a fan episode or a fan package because I get fan mail. I open the fan mail packages in an episode. I call that Fan Flag Day because I open the fan mail and I talk about the flag of the country. And then I also do a topical video. It's anything about geography. It's anything. Sometimes I do like the provinces of Belgium, or I do like the what do you call it, the Federal Republics of Russia episode, or I do administrative division videos. My subscribers like that because it's a little extra, but it's also on my brand. I talk about geography, but it's an extra video that's not a country, but it's helpful and it's educational and they like it. I know my subscribers very well. They want like quirky, fun information. So I have to do that. I have to be on my brand. I have to be smart but a little funny at the same time, and it's really hard to mix that sometimes. You're like trying to give people information but make them a little, and my humor is so bad. It's very just like cheesy, cringy, slapstick humor. But my subscribers like that. It helps them learn. And the reason I do that is because I'm a visual learner. I can't learn by listening to stuff. I have to see shiny objects in front of my face. I can't learn unless I see stuff. So that's how I made my channel. That's why I put animations in my channel. That's why I do humor skits in my channel. So yeah, that's to answer long-winded answer. About 3 times a month works for me. If I did more, I could make more money, but it's too much work. I can't do 4 or more episodes. 3 works for me. Yeah.
Okay, I got one question. Building on what Charlie asked about the financial side. Not this to reveal your numbers, but sort of the breakdown. If you're earning $100, how much is it from pay per click? How much is from sponsorship? Is it all just click 1,000 clicks, or how do you break it down?
There's a lot of YouTube channels that try to break down the exact number of clicks per dollar, and they're always inaccurate. So I'm like, I don't make that much. Like they're like, oh, if you get this much, then you'll make $1,000. Like I've gotten more clicks than that, and I haven't made 1,000 in that amount of time. So I don't know the algorithm. All I know is make stuff people like and get those views.
Always more.
Like,
So,
yeah, that's it.
So is
Yeah.
it 100% of your revenue is just for clicks, or do you have any sponsorships or
Yeah,
product placement, or what is your breakdown?
Most of it is ad revenue, AdSense revenue from YouTube. If you get more views, you get more money. That's the long story short. Every so often, I get sponsored from a brand, and then I have to do like before the video starts, like, hey guys, this video is sponsored by blah 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 blah. And then in the middle of the video, I have to be like, oh, by the way, this video is sponsored by Sporkle, or I don't know, like something. And I'm very specific with the brands that I work with. I don't want to work with anything that's not like education or travel based. I have done a few weird, cringy like video game sponsorships, and like I was not passionate about them. I'll admit it was weird, but the majority of my income is AdSense revenue, and then the Patreon, the sponsorships, everything else is secondary. And I don't know the exact algorithm of how many clicks. All I know is just if you have more, then you make more.
So
That's
we
all I
say
know.
like 60, 70, 80% is just AdSense, and then 20, 30% is the rest, sponsorships and.
That sounds about right. Yeah, maybe 70%
Oh,
AdSense.
okay.
About 70%.
All right.
Yeah.
I think we have time. I think Olivia had a question here.
Yeah. So she asked, how much time do I need to make an episode, and how much time to record and edit? I would say it depends on which country. If it's a bigger country, I need way more time. For this episode, the USA that I'm working on, it's been like 3 months in the making. I've been taking notes. Even when I was in the UK for the UK episode, I was taking notes about the USA episode. I have to compartmentalize my time. The Russia episode was huge. I had to put a lot of information in that. If it's a smaller country with a little bit less information, it takes a little bit shorter time. So each episode, I would say it takes about 2 weeks to research. If it's a bigger episode, maybe 4 weeks to research. That's just research, and then interviewing people, and then getting my subscribers involved, and then reading emails, and then writing the script. And then when I finish writing the script, then I'm ready to film. But I have co-hosts on my show. I have a guy who does the sports segment. I have a girl that does the culture segment. I have a guy that does the food segment. I have a guy that does the music segment. And so I have to make sure they are free with their schedules, and they have lives. They have kids. They have lives they have to do and take care of. So I have to make sure that they are comfortable with their schedules to come on my show and be a co-host. And so I have to schedule everything out. After I finish writing the script, I film them. After we film everything, that's when everything goes fast. As long as I have all the footage, then I can start editing. I've been editing for almost 8 years. I'm used to it. I can finish editing an entire like 45-minute episode in about 4 hours. Like just the video clipping. I can cut the video clips. I don't do the animations anymore. I hired 2 people to do animations. One of them is in New Zealand. The other one is in the Netherlands. And I have one more in Ireland. So yeah. So they do the animations, which saves me so much time. If I had to do the animations, it would take forever. So I would say altogether, on average, about 3 weeks to make one episode. About. And it's a lot of research and writing. Yeah.
All right, I think we're wrapping up pretty soon. Charles, a question for time, question or two, or what do you say? Loic? Last question? Last question. Anyone?
Got some people?
I got back there in the 5th row, white shirt. Up the aisle to the right.
Hey, Paul. First of all, I'm Janie, and I've been a big follower, so thank you for your content.
Thank you.
when you started 8 years ago or almost 9 years ago, it was a very different environment than what it is now because short form content, even on YouTube, has become so popular. For anybody starting now with travel related content creation, knowing what you know now, would you do things differently or would you stay with the long form content because probably it's more profitable because you have more watch time?
Yes, if I had known I would have made more money with long-term content, yes, I probably would have made my episodes longer. I probably would have added all the segments. I was just a stupid kid trying to talk about geography back then. I didn't realize this could blow up and become a career. I just did it because I wanted to learn about the world, and then it kind of just fell into my life and became my job. But I like it. It's a good job because I get to talk about what I like, which is the world. So I was kind of like, I don't know if this could be my job, but if it did, great. But if not, at least I was still gonna do all the countries no matter what. I didn't even think about it as becoming a career. But yeah, if I could go back and restructure the old videos, yes, I would. Because if you make longer videos and if you know your subscribers are watching longer, YouTube has an analytics tool. You can see how long your subscribers are watching on average. My retention rate is about 75%, which is high. They say anything over 60 is good. So if you have longer videos, then you get more AdSense, and then you make more money. That long story short. So yes, I would make my my videos longer if I could, and I would restructure it if I could. I look back and I'm like, oh, I missed that. My biggest regret on the channel are the things that I missed in my earlier episodes. That's the biggest complaint I get from my subscribers. Oh, why didn't you mention this? Oh, why did you forgot to say this? Oh, it's not that they hate me for the channel. It's just they hate the fact that I forgot to mention something. And that's important because people love hearing about their countries. People, especially if they're very patriotic. I would restructure my videos if I could in the past. Yeah.
I just want to say I've seen some of his videos. It's sort of like crack cocaine for the geography nerd. And I think 10, 50 years from now, we have a meeting just like this. There'll be a whole generation of kids start watching age 10, 15, and they'll be populating MTP meetings in the future. There'll be a generation of geography now. So thank you very much for
Thank
your
you.
content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bear.
Thank you.